Hello, everybody. I am Keaton of Kinetic Catholic Ministries here for Season 13, Episode 10. I hope that you all are having an absolutely wonderful Tuesday so far. I know that I am. As we get more in the midst of the school year, I hope that it is going absolutely lovely for you all. Now, what I want to talk about today is something that, yes, I have talked about it on the channel before, but it's been a while, and I feel like it's something that I need to go back to because it is so significant as being sort of the guide for how we live our faith and how we live our life as Catholics. And that is the 8 Beatitudes of Jesus, right? The Sermon on the Mount we read in Matthew, Jesus listing the 8 Beatitudes. And I just want to start off by going through and reading them. Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are they who mourn, for they shall be comforted. Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they shall be satisfied. Blessed are the merciful, for they shall obtain mercy. Blessed are the pure of heart, for they shall see God. And blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called children of God. So all of that can kind of sound like a lot to be thrown onto us. What does that mean? Blessed are the poor in spirit. Like, are you serious? Blessed are those who are... What? So let's take a moment. Okay, let's take a moment to try to really dive into what Christ is trying to tell us here on the Sermon at the Mount. I want to start off by looking at the Catechism of the Catholic Church, which, of course, is our guide as Catholics to so many phenomenal things, has the teachings of the Catholic Church directly in it. So in the Catechism of the Catholic Church, in the CCC, I want to read a couple of paragraphs where it talks about the 8 Beatitudes. In 1717 and 1718, we read, "The Beatitudes depict the countenance of Jesus Christ and portray his charity. They express the vocation of the faithful associated with the glory of his passion and resurrection. They shed light on the actions and attitudes characteristic of the Christian life. They are the paradoxal promises that sustain hope in the midst of tribulations. They proclaim the blessings and rewards already secured, however dimly, for Christ's disciples. They have begun in the lives of the Virgin Mary and all the saints." Really, a big thing that the 8 Beatitudes are about are how we strive for happiness. And this is explained a little more in the next paragraph. In 1718, we read, "The Beatitudes respond to the natural desire for happiness. The desire is of divine origin. God has placed it in the human heart in order to draw man to the one who alone can fulfill it. We all want to live happily. In the whole human race, there is no one who does not assent to this proposition, even before it is fully articulated. How is it then that I seek you, Lord? Since in seeking you, my God, I seek a happy life, let me seek you so that my soul may live. For my body draws life from my soul, and my soul draws life from you. God alone satisfies." That might be one of my favorite paragraphs in the whole catechism. Now, obviously, there's a lot of good ones to choose from, so that may be biased. But right there, it's directly correlating how these 8 Beatitudes directly relate to us striving for happiness. How does that make sense? Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness. Blessed are the poor in spirit. It sounds like I have to be pretty small, right? Pretty weak in order to achieve happiness. No, that's not what the 8 Beatitudes are saying. Not at all. The 8 Beatitudes can kind of throw us for a loop because they are polar opposite to everything that society tells us we need to be happy. Comfort, luxury, wealth, material goods. We think that that is what we need to be happiness. The Catechism tells us right there that God alone is the only one who can fulfill that desire for happiness. Wanting to be happy isn't a bad thing. That desire comes from God. But fulfilling that, only God can do that. And the 8 Beatitudes right here are an outline for us, a guide on how exactly we strive for that happiness. Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are they who mourn, for they shall be comforted. These first two can kind of seem like a doom and gloom. Is that the word I'm looking for? Doomy, gloomy. You know what I'm trying to say? Sad, right? They kind of seem just like sad Beatitudes that it's just like, oh, I need to be pretty sad then, huh? No. Blessed are the poor in spirit. Essentially, that's directly correlating to this idea of humility, right? And that's kind of the 3rd Beatitude is kind of in that way too. Blessed are the meek. And true humility, understanding that ultimately the goodness of ourselves, that comes from God. Blessed are they who mourn, for they shall be comforted. Sadness isn't a sin. Mourning is a part of our emotion. But the second that we try to handle that sadness away from God, that's when it becomes an issue. Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they shall be satisfied. What's interesting about this one, and I want to spend a little bit more time on this fourth beatitude, blessed are they who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they shall be satisfied. It doesn't necessarily say, blessed are those who have achieved righteousness, blessed are the righteous. No, blessed are those who hunger and thirst for it. Blessed are those who have a desire to do everything good in their life. For if they truly hunger and thirst for it, if they truly seek it out, if they truly get that, then they shall be satisfied with that hungering, with that thirsting for righteousness. Even the desire to do good, even the desire to be righteous, Jesus Christ is telling us right here the significance of that. Blessed are the merciful, for they shall obtain mercy. We talk about it all the time. God is endlessly merciful, right? All of us sin. That doesn't make it okay, but it is something that happens regardless. And so, blessed are the merciful, right? Blessed are those who are truly sorry, who truly have mercy. But beyond this, beyond the merciful in a sense of like being sorry for your sins, blessed are those who are merciful in a sense of forgiving others, right? Forgiving our brothers and sisters who might in some way have irritated us or done some wrong to us. Forgiving them, showing them mercy. For we ourselves shall obtain mercy if we can accomplish that. Blessed are the pure of heart, for they shall see God. This is one that society might not like the most. This idea of pureness, a pure heart, purity in anything. That's something that society, and by society I mean like the citizens that make up the culture, specifically within this country, because we know that societies, like the culture of a society, can change from place to place. But they don't really like this idea of purity. I was trying to say pureness and purity at the same time. Of purity, of pureness. This is something that's somewhat humorous to them. But Christ is telling us right here, blessed are those who are pure. Blessed are the pure of heart, specifically, for they shall see God. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called children of God. Peacemakers can kind of throw us for a loop, right? What is meant by peacemakers? Well, we know that God himself is the source of peace. He empowers us to be bearers of that peace, right? We show that peacefulness of God. We bear that peacefulness of God when we work to reconcile with others, to work in harmony with one another, true community, rather than hatefulness. And then this last beatitude is so important. Blessed are those who are persecuted for the sake of what is right, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Another translation, blessed are they who are persecuted for the sake of righteousness, right? It's this idea of righteousness. Again, we can immediately think martyrs, and that's very true, the saints and the martyrs. But the reality is, it's not just up to them. We are all called to be saints. And like the saints, when we suffer for Christ and for others, the kingdom of heaven is our reward, just as it was for the saints. Guys, these 8 beatitudes can seem like a lot. It can seem like we're just kind of thrown into this, right? Like, okay, I need to follow all of these 8 beatitudes. This is a lot of work. How do I do this suddenly? Guys, let's take it step by step. Let's take it beatitude by beatitude, understanding that this is a clear guide for getting to the kingdom of heaven, for achieving happiness. And rather than try to fill the void in our human heart with things of this material world, let's look to the Beatitudes, a guide for that happiness, as the Catechism of the Catholic Church so beautifully explains. And taking it baby step by baby step, slowly but surely, coming to not just obey them like commandments, right? But fully understand them, love the Beatitudes, love the guide that it is for us, follow them, and be those peacemakers. Be those who hunger and thirst for righteousness. Be those who show mercy towards others. And understand the true significance of that. So now that the topic is done, do y'all know what it is time for now? It is time for
the Saint of the Week.
And today's saint of the week is St. John Henry Newman. Now, St. John Henry Newman's feast day is coming up here in just a couple days. Beyond that, he's a 19th century saint from England. He's also recently canonized a saint. He was just canonized in 2019 by Pope Francis, which is pretty cool. Now, when we want to talk about geniuses, I think St. John Henry Newman easily falls into that category. He actually first grew up and became an Anglican priest, and then after eventually studying more and learning more about it, he just came to the conclusion that the Roman Catholic Church is the closest thing there is to the one true church, that it is actually truth. And so he ended up becoming Catholic. 2 years later, he was ordained a priest. He worked his way up so much that he eventually became a cardinal. He wrote a ton. He had 40-something novels, famous poems. He also challenged any tendency to consider truth as completely subjective. He would go against that. He would challenge a lot of heresies that were out there. He kind of transformed how theology was seen. Before St. John Henry Newman, the church fathers' history within the church, it wasn't entirely taken into account in terms of theology. It was learned about, it was talked about, but they didn't really dwell on it maybe as much as they should have. After St. John Henry Newman, people actually started to look at the church fathers as very, very important to better understanding our theology and how we thought about Catholicism and how important those early church fathers truly were, which is really, really cool. He's most famous on his essay on the development of Christian doctrine, which is more actually like a book than an essay, which is just absolutely incredible. He eventually died a peaceful death, and like I mentioned, was canonized by Pope Francis in 2019. Now, yes, his feast day is coming up in a couple days, but I also chose to talk about him for today's topic when we're talking about the 8 Beatitudes, because when we're talking about how to live a happy life, how to seek that longing in our heart, and how to seek that in God, and how the 8 Beatitudes are kind of a guide for that, St. John Henry Newman is an amazing example of a long life being lived, slowly going from Anglican to then fully boom, knowing a ton about Catholicism, a ton about the church, and intellectually advancing. Now, I'm not saying that the 8 Beatitudes tell us that, hey, we got to be super smart like St. John Henry Newman is, but what I am saying is that the Beatitudes give a guide for us on how we seek our happiness, how we seek everything we do, and that is in God. St. John Henry Newman, through his studies, through his theological knowledge, came to that conclusion as well, that everything that we do, all the happiness that we seek, is ultimately found in God. So anytime that we feel like we may be struggling to fully accept or understand the 8 Beatitudes, we can always look to St. John Henry Newman for help. St. John Henry Newman, pray for us. So before you guys click off this video, I'm not just a YouTuber, I'm also a Catholic speaker. So come and book me to speak at your church, school, men's group, youth group, women's group, you name it. That would be absolutely lovely. It would be a blast too. So please email us directly at kineticcatholicministries@gmail.com to look for details on booking a speaking engagement. Also, please check out all 3 of our social medias. The link to all 3 of those will be in the description down below. Please check out the new website, kineticcattholic.com. A new shop is up on there, so please go check that out as well. Please comment any send your topic suggestions that you might have for future videos. Please click the red subscribe button down below and the bell next to it. That way you get notified when I come out with a new video. Please share this channel video with your friends and family. Make sure that they know about Kinetic Catholic Ministries and what we are trying to do over here. Please like the video. I don't know if I already said that, but if not, double like it, dude. That would be great. Again, hope you all are having a great school year so far. Really enjoying yourselves in this lovely Tuesday morning as of when this is posted. Obviously, you could be watching this anytime. This was Keaton of Kinetic Catholic Ministries. I will see you all next week, and hi, Brielle.